Sports Radio 1400 WKV. Hey, this is the morning show. We're going to talk some UVA hoops now, and I got the perfect guy to talk hoops with. He's the Virginia men's basketball associate head coach, Ritchie McKay. Coach, how you doing this morning?
Mark, we're doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Now, I know a couple days ago we got word that Mike Scott, the big power forward for the Cavaliers, had the second ankle surgery, and now he's going to be done for the year, but he's going to come back next year. How big is this for the team where you're going to lose Mike Scott?
Well, obviously, Mark, it's significant in terms of what we're doing. Mike has had and was having a terrific year for us. And unfortunately, that's come to an end. Whenever you're in these situations, and you know Coach Bennett, you've been around him, you've spoke with him enough to know that he wants what's best for the individual, and Mike just couldn't do it without significant pain. And he's a tough kid. Anytime you're from the 757, you're usually pretty tough, but Mike especially. And unfortunately, for him and for us, we won't have his services the rest of the year this year, and I'm sure we'll talk more about what it does to our team. But we're also excited that there's a potential that he may come back and get another year of eligibility.
No, that will be good. Now, I was thinking about Mike Scott especially, and I've been talking about this all week. I was at the game last Saturday, and I know you were as well as a coach. You guys took on UNC. You battled them tough, but you lost in the end. And, I kept thinking when you were playing that game, I was like, man, if you had Mike Scott out there, you guys would have gotten the W.
Thought about Mike being with us for the last 6 games. So we obviously miss him. And as a matter of fact, if you were there last Saturday, maybe you want to take my spot next to Coach Bennett on this Saturday.
We might have to do that. I like that. Sports Radio 1400 WKV. We're here with Virginia men's basketball associate head coach Ritchie McKay, second year with the team. And I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the season so far?
Great question. We started off after beating William & Mary and USC Upstate. We really weren't sure what kind of team we had because we knew we were going to play a few freshmen, and as it turns out, 4 of our freshmen are playing a lot of minutes, and a fifth, Billy Barron, was playing a lot early, not as much late since Sammy's gotten a little healthier. So it was the unexpected, Mark, and then we go to Stanford, and we just lost our way the last 10 minutes of the game, and obviously the Washington debacle. All of a sudden, we were a 2-2 team who had just lost by 40-plus points, and we're in a little bit of desperation. And I tell you, I've been through some rebuilding programs before, and Coach Bennett did a phenomenal job the night that we lost to Washington. The next morning, maybe 12 hours later, playing against Oklahoma in Maui, and we just found our way again. And we bounced back. We lost Wichita State, and I don't want to recap the whole season, but when you fast forward to the Minnesota game at Minnesota and at Virginia Tech, I just feel like our program kind of took a little bit of an accelerated turn for the better, and then we lost Mike, so we're finding our way again. But we're pleased with the growth of our freshmen, and we feel like that there's certainly a level of expectation relative to our work ethic, our unselfishness, and how we represent our program, and I think that's being honored.
We're here with associate head coach Ritchie McKay with the UVA basketball team, and I wanted to ask you this as I'm battling a cold, as you can tell. I wanted to ask you, Coach, what's it like working with Tony Bennett and the rest of that coaching staff? How's it been so far?
Mark, he's a great coach, and hear me when I say that. I've been around some really good coaches, and he is a great coach. But he's even a better person. I mean, he's as genuine as the day is long, and what you see is what you get. I mean, he really, like, he'll be talking to whomever, and he is who he is. He never puts up a front. Behind closed doors, he's the same guy as he is out in public, and just has an authenticity that's so appreciated, and a spirit of humility that I've learned a ton from him, and really enjoy doing life with him. And our other assistants are phenomenal. Brad Susi, who I've worked with for years, Jason Williford, who played at UVA, terrific young coach, and Ron Sanchez, Ronnie Weidman, both brought with Coach Bennett from his Washington State staff. I feel like we've got a really good staff in place, and we're working hard to to try and bless our kids' lives and see if we can't make a difference in this program.
I was going to ask you, watching some of the games this season, and I know you know the team better than anyone, even better than our fans. You're there 24/7. I will say this, if you guys have off shooting nights, the one thing I like about this team is you guys are really out there hustling and playing some defense. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's the staple of any Tony Bennett or Dick Bennett program. We're going to guard you, and we've been decent, but we're not near where I think this team will eventually get to, and his teams in the future will touch. We feel like we're giving effort, we're hustling. You're right. Appreciate that observation. Yet the execution of it still has some improvement and to be reached. And I think we're getting better in practice, Mark. But we're losing a couple of bodies. Matter of fact, if you have any eligibility left and you can get into UVA, we'd like you maybe to come out for a second walk-on tryout.
Hey, no problem, all right? If you need a 5'11" guy to go to the rim, I'm your guy. Don't worry.
Can you shoot the three, Mark? Can you shoot the three?
Hey, no problem, Coach. And I was going to ask you something about that here in the ACC. I was going over your resume, and it's very impressive. I know you're a coach at Liberty and New Mexico at the Lobos. I was going to ask you, for our local listeners, what are your impressions here now coaching in the ACC? How good is it?
The best of the best. When you play the likes of North Carolina and Duke and Wake Forest, I mean, you can rattle off all 11 others. It's just a neat opportunity, and I think for me it culminated in the ACC tournament last year in Greensboro. It's just a different feel. I've been a part of a few different conferences and been fortunate enough to have some really good positions, but man, when we were tipping it up against Duke, and I can't remember what time we played, but it was just such a neat atmosphere. And obviously, when you have so many pros in the league, you know the level of competition and the expectation, not only from the coaches in the league, but from fans and administrators and supporters. It's really a class organization that the ACC I'm referring to that has a great reputation, and deservedly so.
Sports Radio 1400 WKV. We're here with Virginia's men's basketball associate head coach Ritchie McKay. And I just want to ask you this real quick before I let you go, and thanks for coming on. All right, you got Duke this weekend. What's the scouting report? How good is this team?
They're fun to watch until you got to prepare for them. Obviously, they lose a little bit without having Kyrie Irving, but that's opened a little door for a player I used to coach, Seth Curry, who's getting a few more minutes now, and I'm sure Seth's enjoying that. But Kyle Singler, Nolan Smith, arguably 1A and 1B on the National Player of the Year voting, if you will. They've got an exceptional team. Obviously, they're tremendously well coached, and they play in an arena that is very difficult for any opponent to go into and be competitive. But I'm excited for our young guys, and we'll just what they've done, Mark, is they've knocked teams out really early. First 5-6 minutes of the game, you find yourself down double digits, and obviously we've got to be ready, prepared, and handle some adversity because we're going to face them.
All right, well, Coach, thanks a lot for coming on, and I think I should come to the arena, JPJ, and I should take on your guards at a three-point contest. That's what we should do for the show.
Mark, you let me know when, and we'll make sure we get the cameras out there, and I'm sure some of your listeners would like to know the results of that.
Well, I hope I don't win. That's a problem. I want you guys to beat me. That's what's going to happen. Hey, Coach, I hope you have a good week, and good luck on this weekend against Duke.
Thanks, Mark.